Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome once again to the CEC EduSat network. And you also might be aware that we are running a series of lecture on the topic Issues in the Study of Society. And for it, we have Professor Vivek Kumar with us today. Professor Vivek Kumar is a renowned sociologist. He is teaching sociology at the Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, and has also taught in the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. His area of specialization is in social stratification in India, in Indian society, methodology of social sciences, Indian diaspora. He's done his field work in countries like Canada, England, South Africa, and so on. So we have the privilege to have Professor Vivek Kumar with us. I welcome Professor Vivek Kumar to this transmission today, and I hand it over to him for the presentation today.
Thank you, Geetanjali, and it is really a privilege to talk to the audience on Vyas TV for CEC. As you have rightly told me that we are discussing issues in society. And friends, there are so many issues to be discussed in the society or on the society, of the society. So let me just briefly give you my framework. I like to study, or I like to take this lecture on three very important aspects. One, I will like to argue what is society as such. And second thing is that there are different types of societies, and thirdly, there are different compositions of the society. To begin with, what is society? I think, very long ago, McIver and Page, in his very renowned essay, wrote, society is nothing but web of relationship. And this web of relationship is basically nothing but interaction of the individuals, because human being is a social being. His true nature comes to fore only when we see that he is living in the group. And there are different types of groups which we can call as organizations as well. And this is the organization in which he lives, he delivers, he interacts, he develops his personality, and also he achieves his satisfaction. And because of this, we call this group as society, because it is basically in this organization he fulfills all his desires, dreams, aspirations, as well as his understanding of other individuals. Therefore, friends, society as we know today is a large group of people who interact with each other and fulfill their needs and demands and aspiration. It is what this society is all about. Society is composed of number of groups, smaller groups as we see, and the different groups which we can discuss in this are, one is of course smallest group, if you see, is family. Family is a group which composes of number of individuals, specifically individuals which are related with the blood relationship. There are also relations within the family which are based on marriage. So, society is composed of family, and within the family there are relationships which are based on two types. One is relationship based on blood, and second, the relationship which is based on marriage. It is in this group that people are born, they learn their behavior, they learn to take the roles of the others, and slowly they become a member of the society. Now, before coming to the society, there is a process of socialization. This socialization begins in the family, and family prepares individual for the larger goals to be achieved in the society. Therefore, socialization, and then from socialization in the family, which is informal type of socialization, individuals travel to schools or colleges where they are trained formally to take the roles in the upcoming life in the society. So, society is composed of smaller groups in which family is one, and then we have another formal group which is known as educational institutions. There is another group in the society, and we can say that larger group which is village. Village is also part of the society. In this, people live of different types, different families, different groups, different in India, different caste groups, and outside India, different race group, different color groups. They live in the village and they fulfill their whole desire in living in the village. Now, the other groups, which are basically formal groups, which have been enacted by the individuals' will, which they are thinking process, their groups. Government can be another group. Not only government, but judiciary can be another group. All these groups form the part of the society. But friends, societies are of different types. If we look normally, we can divide societies into two broader heads. One is a basically tribal society, and the other is a modern complex society. Emile Durkheim, the French philosopher, French sociologist, tried to divide the society into two. One was simple society and another was modern complex society. Similarly, another sociologist, Spencer, tried to divide societies, military society as well as industrial society. You can see the different groups have been divided differently. It is based on different types. What are the content of the simple society according to Emile Durkheim? Now, Emile Durkheim is very clear that simple societies are governed by mechanical solidarity, and this mechanical solidarity emerges out of similarity. Now, if you see simple society, you can take example of a tribal society, or you can take example of a village society. These are simple societies. Why they are simple? They are simple because the division of labor in these societies are very simple. What is the division of labor? It is based on either age or sex. The individuals work according to their sex, that is, female will work in the house, or they will at the most bring water or fodder. But what about the males? And not only males, but young males, the youths. Youths go for hunting. They are the food gatherers, and therefore they have to go outside the home. So this division of labor, people specialize in their occupation, and because of that similarity of occupation, a type of unity emerges, solidarity emerges, to which Emile Durkheim called mechanical solidarity. Like machine produces similar type of goods. Similarly, mechanical solidarity is produced by similarity of the people in the simple society. But there is another type of society which Durkheim mentions, and this is modern complex society in which we are living. We are living today in a modern complex society. In this, friends, the type of solidarity which he has tried to argue is organic solidarity. Organic solidarity emerging out of organism, living organism. the body of living organism like human being. There is a solidarity in the living being, the body of the living being, human being. What is that solidarity? There are different organs in human beings' body. Hand, head, heart, all these are different. But they perform different functions, but they contribute into the maintenance of the functioning of a body, and that is human body. If suppose heart stops pumping the blood, what will happen? The function of the body will stop. Therefore, heart performs a very important function. The organ of the body, heart, performs a very important function. Similarly, lungs, kidneys, spleen, gallbladder, all these organs, they perform their functions, and in that context the body is maintained, and therefore there is a unity in the body, there is a solidarity in the body, and to this Durkheim called as organic solidarity emerging out of the organism. So we have seen the diversity, different parts in the body. Similarly, in the society, we have different types of groups. If you take Indian society, there are different types of groups speaking different languages. They are also following different religions. There are Hindus, there are Muslims, there are Sikhs, there are Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Jains, Baha'is, all are there, and they are performing different functions. They believe in different faiths, yet they are performing different functions, and they perform this function in the society to contribute in the maintenance of Indian society. Similarly, you can take example of US. There are different groups living there. There are blacks, there are whites, there are coloreds, there are Asians. Within Asians there are Indians. All are contributing to the maintenance of American society. It is therefore, friends, this difference in the society produces a typical type of solidarity which is known as organic solidarity. You can take another example in the modern complex society. There are different industries. Take for example a car industry. Now a car industry doesn't prepare all its parts. Different groups, different parts, different bodies, they prepare different parts of car. Tire is made by one industry, or tire is produced by one industry. Not only tire, but the glasses in the car are produced by another industry. Similarly, you can say the carburetor is prepared by another. The covers, the seats of the car are different, produced by different industries, the rubber industries. Therefore, these industries, they contribute into the maintenance of a car industry. They contribute in a positive manner, though they specialize in different parts, and yet they contribute in the maintenance of the industry. That is a solidarity, and this is organic solidarity. Now, if you see from society, which has different groups, and family was one of the groups, societies get divided into different types. There is a simple society and there is a modern complex society. Simple societies have different ways of functioning. There is simplicity in division of labor, solidarity, laws. And similarly, there is modern complex society where the functions, the occupations of the people are different. Not only occupation are different, their laws are different, the institutions, the groups are different. So there is a differentiation. Now friends, from here when we move towards the different social interaction processes. Different processes are found in different types of societies. Five basic processes which are found in different types of societies can be named. The first and the foremost process which is found in any society is cooperation. People cooperate with each other. They take and give and take with each other. This is cooperation. They forego their differences. They submerge their differences and they come and unite and interact. They cooperate for the functioning of the society. There is a conflict in the society as well. There is a conflict of interest of the within the population of the society. Different groups, they like something, they don't like something, and therefore there are conflict. People do not want to see each other. They sometimes enter in quarrels. The quarrels may be of verbal type, the quarrels may be of physical type, and therefore there is a conflict. And very renowned exponent of the conflicts in the society was Karl Marx. Karl Marx wrote long back that the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle. So you can see the class struggle, the conflict of the classes, the conflict of the interest in the society is writ large from the written history of the society. World over, there have been conflict between the groups. According to Karl Marx, the conflict emerges between two groups. One is have those people who own the means of production, and the second, those who are basically without means of production. And it is in this context that he argues that those who own the means of production and those who do not own the means of production, they basically have clash of interest. People do not want, those who are having, they do not want to share, and those who do not have, they want to take their legitimate share, and therefore there is a conflict of interest. As the time progresses, the have-nots, they gather consciousness, they organize themselves and they revolt. This is called as social revolution. We will discuss this thing a little bit later. Therefore, friends, we see that there is basically a conflict, that is second process in the society, and many sociologists have studied that conflict. One of them I have given example is Karl Marx, who talked about conflict in the society existing from time immemorial. The third process in the society, if we can see, is competition. Competition is different from cooperation and conflict. In competition, two parties basically vie for the same thing, and that thing is in scarce quantity. It is limited, and therefore it can be anything, competition for power, competition for services, jobs, competition for livelihood, competition for economy, competition in education, anything, any aspect in the society can produce competition. But the real thing in competition is that there are two parties and they are legitimately vying for the rights of one above the other. And it is in this competition, friends, people try to vie for a very limited and meager resource they want to monopolize or they want to capture. It is in this context competition is born. But the simple society did not have much competition. Modern complex societies, on the other hand, they basically live on competition. And if you are a aware citizens of the society, you can see competition in every walk of life. The first competition which you can really see is in the student's life. How students compete for different admissions. Admissions in engineering colleges, admission in medical colleges, admission in management colleges, and now, of course, admissions in different universities. All these groups, they basically vie in competition. Why? Because resources are meager. Seats in the colleges, in the universities, in the IITs, in IIMs are limited, and therefore people compete and there are examinations. Similarly, competition is for services. In India, if you see that the example you can take, services in IAS, these are very much competitive services. Lakhs and people apply for this and they take. So there is a competition in every walk of life. This competition may give rise to conflict and may also give rise to cooperation. So they are all interrelated and interconnected. There is another process, and this is accommodation. Accommodation is basically a process whereby the two parties, they accommodate each other for a particular period of time, and after that again they may be in conflict, they may be in cooperation, or they may be in competition. But accommodation is basically related to the individuals who are vying for the same space again, and they accommodate each other. Last but not the least, the fifth process is adaptation, though it could have come in the beginning itself. Adaptation is a process through which the individuals try to adopt to the given condition. It may be physical environment, it may be social environment, it may be their employment environment. People try to adapt. That is the beginning in which they try to develop, establish, and they try to live in that area. Physical adaptation, if you see, is a very prominent process in which individuals have tried to live in different areas. They have tried to adapt according to the conditions prevailing in the environment, and that's why we have igloos in the ice areas, in the areas which are hidden with the ice, and people live in igloos. We also have food, material, we have dresses according to the areas. The Eskimos, which I have just said, Eskimos live in igloos and they wear different types of clothes. In US, when there is lot of cold, in European countries where there is a lot of cold, people live in insulated apartments. But India is a hot country. It's only in 3 months of winters that we live and wear warm clothes. But if you go to Russia, if you go to Himalayas, people every day there is cold and people try to wear warm clothes throughout the winter. Not only throughout the winter, but throughout the year. Only few months they get summers. So therefore, though the adaptation of the individuals is according to the geographical and physical environment, the food habits are also related to this environment in the society. Different societies, people living on the coasts of the sea, they have a very different food habit. Usually they rely on the seafood, but those people living on the land, they rely on different food habits. Therefore, adaptation is also one of the criteria in the larger rubric of society. So friends, till now what we have covered, we have tried to define what is society. Then we have seen different types of societies, and within different types of societies we have tried to argue the content of the different types of societies. We have seen there are simple societies, we have seen there are complex societies. What do the complex societies have? How do they emerge? And what are the simple societies? What do they have and how do they emerge? Now within that we have seen the society is composed of number of groups, family, village, government, judiciary, all are basically different institutions which compose the society. And within these groups, then we have come to analyze the different processes in the society. Now let us see the relationship between individual and society. Individual and society has a very, very intense relationship. Why? Because it is not only that society is restricted to individuals. Society is also present in different other types of animals as well. And in the childhood we used to see, we have observed that there is a group like activity among the ants also. We can see the dogs, we can see buffaloes, we can see horses, all of them living in the close group and activity of a society. If you have seen forest or films on forest, we have seen how the hordes of the animals, they are there. They are also living in the group, similarly like human beings. But what differentiates the human society with the animal society? The animal society and the human society differs at least on two bases. One is of course the culture. Human society differs because it has culture. Not only it has culture, but it also has multiple groups which govern the lifestyle of the individuals. Now let us see what is this culture and what is the role of culture in the society of the human beings, because we do not have culture in the animal society. If it is there, it dies with that particular species or with that generation. It is not transferred from one generation to another. Now what is this culture? Culture is a learned behavior in the society as a member. When we learn the beliefs, the interaction pattern, the mores, the values of the society as a member, and this learning is through the process of socialization, then we say that it is culture. Now culture is transferred from one generation to another. Human being is a thinking being, and therefore what he does, he tries to transfer his culture from one generation to another. there are different means of transference of these cultures. One, of course, is the process of socialization in the family, but the second is the socialization of the individuals in the schools and universities. But there is another form of transference of the culture is, of course, the course content which we study in schools and colleges. These all they transfer from one generation to another. And therefore, friends, there is an intense relationship between individual, society, and culture. It is society in which the culture emerges and individual remains, and this individual then in turn transmits the culture. Unless and until he is cultured, as they say, he will not be able to learn how to interact with the individuals, different individuals of the society. And if he is not able to learn, different manners, the values, the way how to talk, the language in what to talk, he will not be able to interact with the other people. People will not talk to him also, he is not cultured. He doesn't know the manner, he doesn't know how to wish, he doesn't know how to talk, he is too loud. People do not live. And these types of members, those who are not able to live according to the culture of the society of the day, the society puts sanction on them. And these sanctions can be of different types. These sanctions can be simple boycott, ridicule, or maybe excommunication. They may be excommunicated from the society. And therefore, friends, it is very, very important to note down that every human society has culture, and that culture makes human being livable. He can live in the society, otherwise he cannot survive. Helps him, the culture of the society helps human being to survive and lead a dignified life and achieve whatever he wants to achieve. Without that, he is like an animal and you cannot survive. Therefore, every society has a culture which plays a dominant role in socializing the individual for self-actualization and self-achievement of aspirations of the people. So, culture, personality, and society, they have a very, very intrinsic and important relationship if an individual wants to develop. Now, friends, society can't survive only on its organization, types, content, cooperation, and competition. Society is sui generis. That is what Durkheim said. Society, individuals cannot create society. That is what Emile Durkheim said. What does he mean when he says that society is sui generis? He meant that society is created on its own. No individual creates society. Why? Because an individual is born in a society which is already there existing, and he dies in the society, and even then society lives. So he comes in the society which is already existing, and he goes from the society, and even then society exists. Therefore, he says that society perpetuates itself on its own. No individual creates society. Society is above individual. Therefore, we have to also understand that society has an independent existence, autonomous existence. Although individuals try to produce society, but society can remain on its own. Society exists on collective conscience. That's what Durkheim said. Collective conscience, which is produced by the unity of the individuals. It is not that society exists without individual, but once individuals meet, they produce a very different type of feeling, a very different type of notion. That is somewhat in a part of metaphysics, but definitely this philosophy, this conceptualization of collective conscience is a contribution of Durkheim, which says that society exists on its own and has its autonomy. And that is what he tries to make, that society or collective conscience, or what he calls social fact, will be the subject matter of society. So we have society, we have individual, we have relationship between individual and society. The culture, the development of personality of the individual is dependent on society, but it is also that society has its independent existence, and this existence is nothing but contribution of the individual in a very different manner. But society keeps on changing, friends. This is also a truth, that society never remains static. It keeps on changing. There is always a change in the society taking place. Society, change in the society, and change of the society. These are two ongoing changes. When we talk about societal changes, changes in the society, that means small little changes keep on ushering. Sometimes one group goes, another group comes. Sometimes one institution goes, another institution comes. Sometimes one fashion goes, another fashion comes. So these are the small little changes which keep on ushering in the society, and that is what we call change in the society. But there are change of the society which are quite sudden, and the total institutions, every institutions keep on changing, or it changes very fast. And it is this, if we see that the revolutions, social revolutions, which ushered in Russia, 1917 August Revolution, if we see, before that 1779 we saw a French Revolution, we also saw Chinese Revolution. All these revolutions change the basic structure of the society, and that is why they were called as revolution. That was change of the society. Change of the society means that the institutions, different institutions which are made up of different roles and relationship, they change. And it is here, friends, long revolutions, big revolutions have ushered in the world. Starting from 14th century, we have scientific revolution, in which the sciences, different sciences were born in the society. Different societies of Europe, they experience scientific revolution, in which different institutions, different theories of science were born. One theory of Copernicus is very important for us to remember, because it changed the whole understanding of the Western world. Copernicus gave a theory of geocentric theory. That is, he said that Earth is not stationary. Earth is revolving around the sun. Earlier, people used to think, before Copernicus, they used to think that it is the Earth which is stationary and sun goes around the Earth. That means it was geocentric theory. Earth was the center. Geo means earth, and earth was the center. And Earth was the center, and all the other planets were revolving the Earth. But after Copernicus, people started talking about, no, it is the sun which is the center, which is stationary, and all other planets are. So from geocentric to heliocentric was the theory, and that started the scientific revolution. After scientific revolution, we see commercial revolution. This commercial revolution gave the world society, they produced three types of society. The commercial revolution, the first world society, the second world society, the third world society. And therefore, friends, we see different types of societies and different types of worlds being born in the larger society. So the revolution in the society, the European society, it produced three worlds, the first world, the second world, and the third world. And many of the countries were colonized during this period. The colonization of India, the Latin America, and the other countries were basically part of commercial revolution, in which England, France, Dutch, Spain, all these people, they were trying to colonize the different parts of the world. Different parts of the world were colonized by these countries because they were powerful enough in their scientific development. They had also weaponry. So we had commercial revolution, scientific revolution giving birth to commercial revolution, and out of this revolution, friends, industrial revolution ushered. And in England, because it is said industrial revolution ushers in England because the society was very, very liberal, very democratic, and a very renowned sociologist, Robert King Merton, in his book has written, Social Theory and Social Structure, wrote that England society was quite liberal and democratic society, and therefore scientific revolution and industrial revolution could usher in that in 16th century. But friends, from industrial revolution, actually French Revolution, then you see that a new world social order is produced. Democracy for the first time comes in society. Democracy in the name of equality, liberty, and fraternity. This was the terrain with which the social change in the society started producing. From simple society we have a very different type of culture, in that age and sex determined the division of labor. There were kinghood, emperors, people who were actually not literate. From there we move on to modern complex society, in which we have literacy, we have also different organs of the society, judiciary, university, bureaucracy, polity, market, they all get dissociated, a new type of institutions are born, and from there we see the revolutions which are talking about very different type of notion. But friends, by 20th century, the scientific revolution, which was giving a new light to the societies, different societies, people thought that the miseries, the pain, the agony, the exploitation of the world will go away with the scientific revolution because industry has come. Industry means mass production. But what happened in the Western world? In the Western world, instead of people getting liberated, they got subjugated. They were exploited. There were long hours in the industries. There were slums. These all started coming up, and with the scientific revolution, people who were thinking to become more happy, they became more sad. There were more exploitations, there were more slums, there were long hours of work, and this really made people unhappy. So social changes may bring basically very different results. But friends, what happened in 20th century, 1914 and 1919, science in the society which was thinking to bring happiness to the people, started bringing miseries. The two bomb blasts, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, are the example. The science which was considered to emancipate the people, they subjugated the people. They destroyed the humanity. There was so much of danger that humanity will be destroyed by the scientific researches. And therefore, science was really a lot of debate on the postulates, on the basis of science started emerging. People thought that, look, whether science is a boon or it is a bane. Many essays were written, science, whether it is a boon or a bane. But friends, we have to really differentiate between scientific knowledge and also with our wisdoms. Because wisdom tells us what is good and what is bad. Science cannot tell us what is good and bad. Science can only tell us that we can develop ourselves. We can use this knowledge in a proper manner. But if the knowledge is there, it can be used either way. It can be used either to emancipate the individual, or it can definitely subjugate the individual. So there is always a danger. But along with that, in the society, if we develop our society in a more wisdomful manner, then we can definitely think of the development. Therefore, we see that in society where social changes have ushered, they have brought changes in different walks of life. And I have also talked about change within the system, which are very slow, very partial, and in one institution or the other. But there are changes of the system which total life has been changed, and I gave example of Russia, France, China and Japan. You can also see that their changes were sweeping changes which definitely developed. You can take example of India in which a different type of revolution ushered, which we called as bloodless revolution, revolution of independence in India. There is also a change. Now these seesaw changes can be called as revolutions, and these revolutions basically change the total system of the society. But as we have all said that society keeps on changing, friends, today society has moved from a very, very small little group, and that is, the countries, the villages, the nation states. Today we are living in a global world. Globalization is a new process in which we are living today. And because of globalization, the whole universe has been reduced to a particular type of society, which we called as a globalized society. Some of the social scientists have used the word as global village, as if that the whole world has become one. What has happened so unique about this society of 21st century? This society has changed tremendously, and there are different sources of social change which are trying to unite the world. What is this change all about? In the society today, in 21st century, we are living in a global world, global village. This is a global society. What is so unique about this global society? Friends, in 21st century, the global society is united. Each nook and corner of the world is united together. It is united together in different terms. The first and the foremost mean of the society today, which is basically united, is based on internet or media revolution. Today you are seeing me in your own areas without my being there. It is just because of information revolution, because of which we can reach to any part of the world. Any part of the world can be connected with the internet facility, with the medias, with the television, and with the connection. Second, the connection is also with the transportation. Today, you can fly in any corner within hours together. Thousands of miles can be achieved within hours together. And that is what we see a transportation revolution in the 21st century. The third revolution which we have seen is in the area of economics. Today, number of industries have their status as called as big industries. These are industries which have their number of units in different parts of the world. They are called as MNCs, multinational corporations. Multinational corporations have united the world also because they produce the same thing in every corner of the world. So we have today Coca-Cola in one part of the world, and we can see McDonald's in another part of the world. They are all united as far as the culinaries are concerned. They unite because their products are similar, their prices are similar, and therefore you can see the world getting united. It looks that world is basically one world, one culture, because we can access similar things at every places. Therefore, friends, we see that how the societal changes have started ushering. We started from a simple society that was a village society. We went into the modern complex society. We saw the different types of the worlds, the first world, the second world, the third world. And now today we are living in a global world where actually everyone is united. With a click of a button, we can reach to any part of the world. That is what the society is all about today. So we can see that society has never been static. There is intrinsic relationship between society and individual. If individual has to develop, it has to surrender to the society, and therefore then and then only his development can take place. There are different types of societies. There are simple societies, there are modern complex societies, then the content of the society, the process, different processes in the society, the conflict, cooperation, competition, accommodation, adaptation, all make society unique, a livable place. But this society, of course, is not at all, this is not at all related to one part of the world. Wherever is man, there is society, and wherever the society, there is man. We also touched upon that there is a society among the animals also, but friends, that is of a very different type of society. So when we began by saying that society is web of relationship, then friends, we were very much aware that what these relationship, because a man can only exist with relationship. He cannot survive alone. He cannot survive alone, and therefore he has to enter in the relationship. He has to be dependent and interdependent on the individuals, and he can only do this if he is a part of the society. Without the part of the society, individual cannot survive. So for the survival, I think the issue in the society is that an individual survives only in the society and with his people in the relationship here and there, and which this relationship keeps on changing. With the change in the relationship, the content of relationship changes, the content of society changes. Society moves from simple to complex to doubly complex, and of course today we have moved in the era of globalization. If that is not all, I think we can always fall back upon that the changes in the society also change the role of the individuals, and this keeps on going with one epoch in the other, and definitely all the processes, cooperation, conflict, accommodation, competition, they go hand in hand in the society. So friends, we can see there are so many issues in the society, starting from society which is a group, interaction of the people, small little group which emerges because of the interaction of the people. It goes on to form with different groups in the society. We have family, we have village, we have actually different types of religious groups in the society, and from there we make that there are modern institutions in the society, judiciary, bureaucracy, as well as industry, and from there we can see that modern complex of society in which division of labor is intense, the different types of solidarity which is produced, and we can definitely think that from there we can move that we have a very vibrant society which is globalized society in which everybody gets connected.